Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to Kenyan Media, where we do a deep analysis. And today I want us to delve further in a video that has emerged of the US President Donald Trump exposing William Ruto as a liar, someone who can never and will not be trusted. In a video, Trump was speaking about Ebola and how the United States has really worked so much and also delivered so much to ensure its containment in Africa. And he mentioned something that got people talking, and it got me thinking to an extent where I decided to do this video. We understand how that controversial facility at Nanyuki Air Base brought a lot of chaos, drama, a lot of temperatures in Kenya. People were asking, why would William Ruto, the president of Kenya, who has a responsibility of making sure that Kenyans are okay, they don't contract, they're not contracting such a disease, why would he import Ebola from wherever he was importing it from and bring it to Kenya? Others were questioning with conscious minds and equally comparing Kenya to other neighboring countries. In fact, they said Uganda had sealed its borders such that there was no flow from DRC to Uganda. The same case was happening to other countries. Yani, these other countries were working so hard to prevent the entry of people with Ebola to their countries. They were preventing their people from getting or contracting such a disease. But for William Ruto, was happy to bring the victims of Ebola to Kenya because he was promised to be given 1.7 billion shillings. Is something that got people thinking. But again, I want us to do the comparison because Trump echoed something that exposed Ruto harshly. Before I say anything further, let us listen to what Trump said.
In our session yesterday afternoon on international partnerships, I offered an update on how the United States is leading the world in responding to the Ebola outbreak in Africa, sending $375 million in aid so far to help stop and contain the crisis at its source, and we've done great. I was with the president of a couple of presidents came over, by the way, from African nations, and they were so happy with what we did. But where it's unfair is we gave $375 million.
In that address from Donald Trump, he's saying that his government has really tried so much to deploy $375 billion US dollars to try and mitigate and even control or contain the Ebola in Africa. But then I'm drawn to one statement that he made where he said a good number of African presidents from African nations went to him begging for help, which of course he gave out. And that is why he said that they have worked so hard to make sure that Ebola in Africa is contained. Now, that brings me to the real topic of today, how William Ruto lied to Kenyans about the facility, the Ebola facility. When he was in Wajir, he had an engagement with the media. And Ruto spoke about the Ebola facility that was being constructed in Nanyuki Air Base, where many people were, they were not okay with it. People demonstrated saying they don't want that facility, especially the people of Laikipia County. They were demonstrating saying that William Ruto wants to kill them using Ebola. In fact, almost all leaders were against that, including the UDA leaders, his allies. they were against the establishment of Ebola. And for that reason, President William Ruto came out gun blazing and explained to the people that President or rather the United States President Donald Trump reached out to Kenya and requested them to have that facility there because of the long-term partnership, because US has helped the Kenya a great deal in matters HIV and stuff. He saw it wise to allow the facility to be constructed in Nanyuki airbase, such that whoever who will contract that disease can get better cure and also can be tended to so easily in that facility quarantine. Watch this video where William Ruto was explaining.
When President Trump asked the government of Kenya to support them by having a center in Laikipia Air Base, I gave the okay because it was an agreement and a partnership with friends who have worked with Kenya for 30, 40 years. The American government has supported us. They have deployed huge resources in Kenya to work with us on HIV/AIDS, to work with us on other diseases. They worked with us on Ebola. In fact, KEMRI was one of the institutions that worked on research on the vaccines for COVID.
Now, from that video, you can easily tell that the main thing there, Ruto said that Donald Trump had reached out to him, that the United States reached out to William Ruto to ask for a space so that they can construct an or rather quarantine facility. But again, when you listen to what Trump said, you can find out that the two statements are not the same. Because Trump said that a lot of African presidents, a good number of African presidents came out, or rather came out to him to request. In fact, they begged him. They begged him for support, especially the Ebola. Now that many people are not prepared, many people never knew what to do about the Ebola disease. So I got myself questioning between the two, Donald Trump and William Ruto, who is lying, who is not telling us the truth. Because as I think, there are many chances that Ruto himself went to Donald Trump to beg for that facility to be constructed in Nanyuki Air Base. He went there to beg. Unlike what Ruto says, Ruto always say that the United States came out to them, reached out to them, and they couldn't turn them down because they've helped Kenya a great deal since independence. And I'm here asking you the same question. Among the two leaders, who do you think is lying? Because we understand Donald Trump has nothing to lose. He can always say what he feels is right. Yeah. Who do you think? Who do you think is lying between Donald Trump and William Samoei Ruto? Your answer is good as mine. I believe William Ruto was lying here. Because tell me, of all the African countries, why would he prefer, or rather Donald Trump prefer Kenya? Why? And therefore, Donald Trump here is shaming Donald Trump is shaming our president of Kenya, William Ruto, badly. is shaming him badly and indicating to the whole world that Ruto is a liar, despite the fact that many things are happening. But Donald Trump has been maintaining he's someone who is very honest and tells you on the face if you wronged him, he tells you there and then. And therefore, don't tell me that Trump can lie about such a thing, and given that he is the one who was facilitating the containment of that disease. I don't know what you think. You can write your comment down there in the comment section. Let us talk, let us discuss. Perhaps we can form a basis of whatever we're going to talk about in the next video. So if you are new here, consider subscribing, liking and sharing our content. Hit the notification bell so that you can be receiving notifications each and every time we bring you a new content.